it was a mental battle every day for me. I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to do nothing.
There's nothing I won't do. Nothing that I won't do. Yeah.
Hey Britties, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special guest with me, Miss
Simone. Hello.
By the title you have read, we'll be discussing life experiences and life obstacles. We'll be doing mukbang style, so we have our juicy crab. I got some shrimp and corn and potatoes. My girl has some crab legs.
Yeah, almost on it.
You know, just crab is good. So.
It is. I was hungry too, y'all. Sorry.
So I'm about to dig in.
But I'm going slow, so Brittany can eat because she needs to catch up.
So we'll be discussing life obstacles.
Yeah.
Within our generation, the younger generation, people in their early 20s.
Yeah. Okay, so Brittany and I have shared similar life experiences. Back in I was about to say 2019. 2020. It feels so long ago, but back in 2020, back in May of 2020, I lost my dad. During like the peak of like COVID. So it was an interesting time for me, as well as like an enlightening time as well. And really?
In July 2020, I unfortunately lost one of my older brothers due to drowning at Lake Lanier. A lot of you may know the backstory about that lake. Unfortunate that it had to take one of my loved ones. Continue.
Okay. Continue. Okay. So yeah, no, we're just like wanting to. So me and Brittany talk a lot. So whenever we get together, when I do her makeup.
Yes, our talks happen mostly with our when she does my makeup.
Yes,
it's a deep conversation.
It do, like it just always happens, and we always end up like talking about similar things like at the right times every time we link together. So this is why we're here today. You know, we just wanted to kind of share with you all what we discussed, like as far as what it's like to, I guess, lose someone at this age and having to deal with it early on. Because, you know, sometimes when you think about life, well, for me, I'll speak personally, like when you think about losing a parent, you typically don't think about losing a parent until like you're older. And like, you know, you hope to like see your parents grow older, and you know, life takes a toll anyway, but you never expect it to happen so soon. And so it puts a lot of things, like it shifts your world, honestly. And yeah, it's been pretty interesting. So me and Brittany basically talk about how it can be interesting dealing with like grief at this age, because a lot of people like don't really experience it at this age at all. Because I'm 23.
I'm 24, going on 25 this year.
So yeah, basically the same age, you know, around the same age. So like, when you lose somebody so early, a lot of things, like, you know, we're young. So I lost my dad when I was 22. And it's like things I was thinking about like prior to losing him was like stuff that to me now is kind of like superficial, or like stuff that doesn't really matter anymore.
Same.
It can be, for me, I'll say my experience, and I don't know if Brittany agrees, but like it's kind of like a lonely thing, because you don't really, like, nobody really has gone, well, not nobody, but like people like who are like in your inner circle, or like people you typically like are with a lot or like associate with, they haven't really experienced that. And for me, I don't know anybody else personally that has lost a parent that I am able to kind of like confide in. So a lot of it has been like figuring it out on my own. From my like standpoint, I understand that like people, there's not really a lot you can really say to someone when you haven't really gone through anything. I respect it, because it's like, I don't really, 9 times out of 10, I really don't, you know, I appreciate support, the love, everything, but when it comes to the actual like giving advice, or like, what's what I'm looking for? Support. It can be shown in different ways, but it's just interesting because like a lot of my friends have came to me and said like, I want to check on you, but I haven't really known what to say, so I kind of just like let you figure it out.
That's the one.
That's the one. And like, and it's like no hard feelings to anyone, any of my like loved ones, my friends, my close friends. But it's like, it's really like real, like when you haven't gone through it, it's like, it's nothing you can kind of really do help me through, you know?
Right.
So you gotta figure out, how you think? Like, what you feel about that?
So referring back to when she said that time is kind of lonely. So I'm going to give a little backstory. When my brother's demise happened, you know, people hear that it is traumatizing and people are coming to you and trying to be consoling and sympathize with you. But once you receive that news or once you experience that, it's kind of like a shock. You're still in shock. You're still trying to register like this is your new reality. Yeah. So even though people were coming right after the situation happened and trying to, you know, be there and support you, I was still trying to process what I'm going through. Like
wrap your head around it.
Yeah, I didn't believe that's what, you know, this is what my new reality is.
Yeah.
So kind of felt like people were there, but I still felt lonely. I still felt by myself, even though people may have physically been there or, hey, how are you? I can't really answer that. I couldn't answer that. I don't know. There's so many emotions you're going through your head, and then during that process, I don't know, like with planning for funeral and stuff like that.
Arrangements. That's a stressful
That
time.
was so stressful.
That's
literally
a stressful
like
time.
You don't even have time to process what just happened.
It happened so fast too.
Then you have to go ahead and start planning. It's like, dang, I don't want to believe that my
right, like setting it there, like this is actually like reality.
And then you gotta immediately start planning right away. So it was a lot. So definitely felt lonely. And when it happened, people were there, but it matters about the people who continue to be there for you. Because people, yes, within the 2 weeks or whatever after it happened, people were there. But a month or two later, some of those people just started drifting away. Yeah. So it was just a difficult process that you had to navigate on your own and figure out on your own. And it was a lonely time, I would say. I definitely agree. It was definitely a lonely time.
It's like going back to like kind of how things die down. Like people who haven't experienced like grief to this capacity, it's like it's something like grief is something that's just always gonna be around. Like it's like a lingering thing. When everything happens, and then it's like so new, right? So you have like all these people and like, what do you need, stuff like that. Yeah. And then over time, it's like people got other stuff going on in their lives too. Yeah. And so it's like it's another one. Things kind of move on. Like when you're saying like going back to like planning for a funeral was like, dang, like it happened so fast, and it's like that was like my first glimpse of like this is happening, but life's gonna go on without me. That's
one thing. Before his demise, I heard the saying like life still goes on, like the world doesn't stop, the world just keeps going. And yes, I used to hear it, but I never believed it. But when that situation happened, it's literally like you gotta pick up and continue moving with life. And it's just it was, I don't know, death is a thing that I don't know how to explain. And especially when it's a loved one, someone super close to you, someone you talk to almost every day, you know, and live within your household, right? That hits different. And you actually had a connection with them, that really hits different. So the hardest part was of picking up and still trying to move through life while coping and healing. So I don't know if you ever had at times where people ask you like, hey, how are you doing? I think that's a question you should ask. Yeah, it's really like, it's like one of my friends just asked me that too recently, and it's like, I naturally just say I'm fine. Because it's like, it's so, that question is like so multifaceted. It was like, I don't really know how to answer that. And I don't think they're trying to be mean. They're really trying to care, but it's like, that's another reason I want to do the video, is to let people know of ways of how to sympathize or be there for a person without like overstepping. Right. So asking how I'm doing, literally life was in shambles. Right. I don't know what you want me to say. Still is. No, but like seriously, it's like, I think for me, like for people like my friends or whatever, I kind of just, I don't want you to kind of like ask like those superficial kind of questions of like surface level. And I know I say this because it can be awkward, right, for friends, like, because like, what do you say to somebody who just like lost their dad, right? And if you have lost their brother, right. I think asking how they're managing grief There we
is
go.
a good question.
Yes.
Also asking, is there anything you need from me at this moment?
Yes, that's the perfect question.
Things
right
that don't, because I think like sometimes that like it's kind of like an easy way to ask questions. And I'm not saying anybody that has asked me this is like wrong or whatever, because I appreciate it. But it's hard to answer that and just be like, oh yeah, I'm fine, because it's like really I'm not not today. Right. And grief is like so weird. Like I can be fine some days, you know.
I want to
it's
like
like
that next. Go ahead.
Yeah. I can be good, and then like the next day I'm like, damn, like I really don't have my dad. It's crazy. Like it hits you. And also going back to like navigating this generation, I think social media also like plays a part, because for me, I like when say I post frequent enough, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I think in our generation, like when we see like, oh, they're on social media, they're fine, like they're good, they're doing this, like
that's another thing I need to stop.
Yeah,
I need to stop
assuming that we're okay. So, but also I also myself, I had to realize like I need to stop. If I'm not okay, I don't need to be posting.
Okay.
You know, it's like I need to get off social media. That's a whole nother conversation itself, though. But yeah, like just assuming that because you see this side, like, oh, they're good, you know, like I haven't checked up on them, but they seem fine because on social media and stuff like that. But again, this is like close friends. Like if you know, this sounds bad, check up on your friends. Yeah. Not even speaking of us, but like anybody who has gone through any type of traumatic experience, even if it's like loss or like some type of any other thing. It
doesn't necessarily have to be like talking. You could do a gesture or something, like flowers
so
or
true.
what.
That's so true.
What your friend likes. If your friend likes a favorite, like I like boba. So one time a friend brought boba for me, you know. Aww. So it's just like those small gestures. Instead of asking me how I'm doing, you could, how can I assist you, or how can I be of, you know, help to you, or what do you need from me, or anything like that. Because in my mind, it's like when you ask that, it's kind of replaying.
Yes.
For me. I made another day do a story time on what happened to my brother, but over just surface level, it was just Lake Lanier and the drowning. But yeah, the situation continues to play over my mind when people are just asking.
That's another part of it. Ooh, like reliving that.
Every time hearing that lake, it's just, it took some time to heal to get to the point of talking about it without crying.
Yeah.
Another thing with social media, because after the incident happened, I think I stayed in the house for a week. But like I said, being that close to the person, and that being like, he was the third boy. So I have three older brothers, but he was the last boy, and I came right behind him. So we have like a 5-6 year difference. But that was my God, that was my brother. Like, you know, I would do anything for him. So losing that part it was hard. So I think I stayed in the house for a week, but being in the house and not hearing those normal activities that they usually do. My brother, he was lively, bubbly person, making jokes, clowning on me all the time. So when the house just went to a quietness. It was not lively anymore. So being in the house for the week was driving me crazy. So I can't sit in my sorrow. I had to get out. And I think it was 2 weeks after I went out, we, you know, my friends put together a day for us to go out to the lounge, and I was still in shock. I don't know how I was getting through, how I was enjoying the time, but I needed my mind to be off of what was going on. People assume, since like we took a picture and I posted on social media, oh, she's fine. No, I'm not fine. I'm trying to find a way to be
okay.
Be okay.
Yeah.
So the assumptions with social media. So then I was like, dang, okay, well, when you post, this is what people think, and it's not. That's not really the case. Like, stop believing everything you see on social media. Yeah,
like paints a perspective of what
people post what they want you to know. That may not be their real situation. So stop being fooled by all these people, you know, thinking that that's their life. So
yeah. I also do want to give a shout out to my friends though. I'm more of like an introverted person.
Same here.
I stay to myself a lot, and so like prior to losing my dad, I was always kind of like that friend. Like you would see me, but you wouldn't see me.
Yeah, so for a good day.
Yeah, like
that's a good day.
Literally, like I'm to myself a lot. But I think for me, like the way I kind of handled it. So for my situation, without going into detail, I kind of already saw what was coming. Like I already knew what was kind of happening. But for me, like, it took me a while to really like process it. Like, it took a while to process. And so I kind of didn't know how to communicate. Like, I didn't know how to like work through my grief yet. So I kind of just shut down a little bit. And so like with my friends, they kind of know how I already am. So I think they were like giving me space, which I also do appreciate, because I appreciate friends who also like know when to give you space as well and allow you to have that time.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. No, literally love you guys. And like, and can respect it. Cause like some, like there's like, cause like my mom, like some of her friends, like things we had, like they just overstepping. And sometimes you gotta know when to like
know your place.
Know people, like they need time. Like it's not about like get your personal feelings out of it, because it's something like so much more to you.
You don't understand. See, that's all I was saying. People don't understand until they're actually in your shoes or actually experience it. So that's why I was like, I relate so much with her, because when we used to talk during the sessions of getting my makeup done, I would say something and she's like, oh my God, that's similar to what I'm going through and stuff like that. And
bring my spirit animal, you know?
Because it was just like, it was good to finally meet a person who actually understands, and not to discredit anybody else who supported during that time. It's just like, when you find people who you're relatable with and who have experienced it, it's kind of easier to talk about it.
It helps to have people who going through what you're going through, because you don't feel alone.
Yeah, because like I already said, the time was lonely. Like that time of trying to heal, still healing. I feel like that healing process.
The healing never ends.
Yeah, I don't think
it's ongoing. It's a life thing.
People, I think most people during that time will tell me like, with time it gets better. The only thing I used to get pissed when people said that. Cause like, what do you mean it gets better? I just lost somebody.
You manage it better.
That's what I think. That's what I
feel like when people say that's what you really mean.
That is
because like nothing gets better about losing someone, you know.
Yeah,
it's
like
you are able to work.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're able to work through it like better.
That is true. You're able to manage it better. Like, cause at that time it would be outbursts, crying, just sad, zoning out when people were talking to me, not really engaging how I used to before that happened.
I've been in a whole nother universe. I'm sorry, cause I'm already people who know me, like I'm already a little slow.
No,
so, no, for real. Like I'm smart, but at this time I'm a little slow. But it got really bad. Okay, so like let's talk about this. How did you experience like memory loss?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mine was bad. I would like not remember things. Like you could tell me something and I might forget it. Like I'm gonna say like minutes later, that's dramatic, but like
the next
days later, like remembering to do stuff. It was bad. I couldn't keep up. Like I felt like I was just kind of like, and I think that was going back to like the zoning out.
Yeah.
Like I would think I was like registering things, but I really wasn't. And then their friends would be like, yeah, like this happened. I'm like, what?
Oh, when did it happen? Where was I?
I didn't remember that.
I would say the zoning out.
Yeah.
I used to try to be attentive with people, but
that's something
like literally I get to, my friends know and people know when I start saying they like tell us
no conversation.
I'm literally, the mind is just replaying other stuff. Right. Not listening to what you're saying.
I lost my dad. Basically, like in layman's terms, a lot of stuff, I ain't gonna curse, that I cared about before, I like no longer give a crap about after. And when I say that, I think like in this generation, we kind of focus on like a lot of like things that we think matter that don't really matter. Like for me personally, I was kind of in this space of like, oh, like let me make sure like I got the cutest stuff, and let me make sure that like I'm, you know, keeping up with this and like whatever other people got going on, and comparing myself a lot to like things that other people were doing. Kind of just like what I like call like worldly things that we think are like important now, like material things, possessions, like things that you think equate to your value. Yeah, all that for me is it was kind of like it still is like an evolving thing, because like now I'm still learning a lot of things. Like dang, I really don't care about that either. But I was like a clothes and shoes junkie, right? And like I always felt like I needed to have like the hottest stuff out. Like, oh, if that's out, I need to get this. If this is out, I need to get this, because it's like everybody got this and I need to have that too. But it's like when you put things in perspective, after like you really like go through something when it's like you just lost a whole person, it's like stuff like that is like, why did you feel the need that was important at that time? Like, what does that actually like do for you, you know, in this life that you have right here? And so I had to like shift a lot of like what I thought was important. Kind of like change my mindset of how I thought about things, how I saw things, and just looking a little deeper into things and not just like being surface level. Because it's easy to just kind of think like, oh, go through life like, I need to make money, I need to be able to live this type of life I want to live. And it's like, when you go through something like that, it's like, I'm no longer worried about like what I can do for myself, but what can I do for others and what can I do to serve God. Because that's really what's important. Because it's like, I went through a thing when I was like, when losing somebody, I had like this weird experience with like what death was. Because I worried a lot. I'm like, damn, like my dad died. What happens after life? Like, where do you go? How does it work? I'm like, I don't know. It's so many questions go through your head. It's like, dang, like what have I done now that it's like, if I die today, like have I done anything that really matters? And like, hell no, you done bought a whole bunch of shit. You know, like it's sorry for cursing y'all.
No, you didn't.
But yeah, so I had to change a lot of like what I thought I cared about, and kind of sit my A down, because I was out a lot, like roaming around the streets, being out, clubbing. Like I said, around the streets like I was just out there, but like going out a lot, kind of like indulging like substances and stuff like that, and like now I'm sounding like I'm just so pure and holy now, that ain't it? Because I feel like we still like to get in, you know, like we have a good time, but it all comes down to like what prioritizing what's really more important. Yeah, like that was just in a nutshell kind of where my mind went with that.
Picking up off of her with shifting mindsets, before his demise, I was very what's next, always like the future, like okay, this can skip over this, let's, you know, move on to what's next, what I want. Emotion wise, I'm an introvert, and I do have a hard way of expressing emotions. Like, I'm a very kind person, I will do nice stuff for people, but like emotional wise, like I love you or hugging or
the hugging,
I don't like being touched like that. I didn't like that. I was so hardcore. I thought it wasn't okay to show emotions when, you know, I would do that in private.
Care,
yeah. So it's kind of weird how to explain it. Like, I'm a very genuine, nice person, but I didn't express it often like how I do now.
Yeah, which is so crazy, because I met you, you're so nice.
But no, I have a way of like with emotions of like not opening up or really saying how I felt.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, I was always a genuine person, but it was just hard to express it before then. And thinking back on my brother, like this man, you could tell him the meanest thing, he's still going to be happy. He's not gonna let that get him down. He was always happy, positive, and he was showing emotions and caring. I wasn't like that. It was kind of like, oh, why are you trying to hug me? Like, but shifting mindsets before his demise, what's next? I'm ready to get to what I need. I want what I want and all of that. I didn't really
like
care for
focusing on the now.
Yeah, I was never present.
Yeah.
And after that, it's unfortunate to lose him, but he has taught me a lot during this time. Like, I love you, be safe, you need anything, you're doing okay, trying to be there and be present, be in the moment, stop over saying like, oh well, let's skip over this, let's get to what I want.
Right.
Enjoying the journey of life is what I'm
enjoying. The journey, that's the one. Yeah, I agree with that a lot.
But enjoying the journey of life. Stop trying to, yes, you want the nice house, yes, you want the big career, but what's most important is enjoying each step of the way to getting there. When you look back and you're like, dang, well, I was just
flowing through life.
Instead of like, dang, I really did enjoy that time with her. I really did listen, or I really did care for, you know, that moment.
Yeah.
So it shifted my mindset of being present. I wasn't present. I was so focused on the future. It shifted my mindset in that way, and it shifted my mindset enjoying my family more. It showed me showing emotions is okay. Asking for help is okay, because that's a hard thing for me to do. I would suffer in silence before having to ask for help. So that it showed me that it's okay, like that's normal. You're a human. It's okay, you can do that. So and it showed me what do you really value in life, like what's important, like how she was saying about shoes, clothes. To me, it's like spending time with the people, because he showed me that life is short. He passed in his late 20s. Yeah. I thought I was gonna grow old. We was gonna have, our kids was gonna be, you know, cousins and all of that. Like, I thought that time would happen when we're old. Never expected it to be so soon. And like, I felt as though he was about to start living his life at that time. And for it to just be gone like that, it was just, it was crazy. So it shifted my mindset to really focus on what's important in life. Really see what you want out of life too. Before, I was focusing on what society
what tell you think you should have.
I was focusing on what society wanted me to do in life, and after that,
everything.
You gotta have the nicest this. You gotta be this. You gotta
act this way. It's all superficial.
Whole mindset changed after that happened, because it didn't even matter. It did not matter. Those material stuff can be replaced. All that can be replaced. This life cannot. So why am I gonna be, oh my God, this car, I gotta, no. I'm just humbled. If those things come, blessings, thank you God for all of that, but it's not more important than anything else in like a life or those moments. And another thing I'm thankful for is pictures and memories. Do you always like?
Yes. Okay. So going back to like, so when we were doing my dad's obituary, I thought I took like, you know, like over the course of like my life, I was like, I thought I documented a lot of our life, but going back, it was like we had a lot of pictures, but I was like, dang, I wish we had like more pictures, more videos, more like things that captured the moments at that time. And it's like you realize, like, because sometimes, you know, it's like a catch-22, because a lot of times a phone could be like a good and a bad thing at times. You don't want to be too wrapped up in your phone sometimes, where you're like, oh, I need to take a picture of this all the time and do this. But at the time, it's like when you're spending quality time with people, like it is something that like really matters to you, you feel like I need to hold this moment dear. Make sure you capture it in any way, like whatever that is for you. You know, if it's in a picture, write it down. I don't know what that is to people, but like put it in your notes or take a picture, take a video, but get those moments, because it's like once you have them,
it's there forever.
That's something to use to remember people by, like, and not even just people that are gone, but like even people that you still, you know.
I be looking on it back on times of like maybe a vacation of like New Year's. I was just looking back at the videos with who I spent it with, you know.
Right. It was like, oh, because sometimes you can forget, like life just happens. And you're like, oh dang, let me go back to my memories. And like,
I was just looking at them, like it made me happy, made me warm. Like, okay, you know, you had a good time and you have those memories and stuff. So I would say pictures and memories are very important, and try to capture those, because life is very short, like, and time flies. Like time, it's about to be 2 years.
January is over, and it's like we literally just said Happy New Year 2 days ago. People, I don't know. It's like, okay.
Time is literally going. Right?
No, it is. Yeah, and that's why like it's so important to like live in the now and live
in the moment.
Finding things that like
you value,
and that really bring you like happiness and joy, not things that you think. Peace. Like things that you have, your possessions, what you have obtained does not equate to like,
you can't take it with you.
Like what brings you, like, I guess going into like the peace thing of like your inner, like you have to, at the end of the day, if you were to die today and whatever you believe in, I believe in God, if I would go to God and be like, what I got to show? He'd be like, you have these things.
But they can't come in here with you.
So what else you got for me? And for me, that's like going back to shifting perspectives. Like I had to learn, like, this life is not just about like serving myself, but serving others too. Making sure, because we're not all put, if the world wasn't about just us, we would be in a world by ourselves, you know? And it's like we're here with other people to experience life with other people, and especially people who have different like experiences. And I'm getting better about this now. It's like I want to do more of it, because I haven't fully like enriched myself into it how I want to. But serving other people as far as like helping people who are maybe not in the same like circumstances, who are not fortunate to, or just getting to know other people who have different life experiences. Like this world, it's like we're here, you know, to experience it together, and for you to just kind of just sit and like, oh no, I'm just gonna move how I move in my life and not really worry about what other people like. It's okay to like care about other people too, but outside of like loved ones, people who you already care about, but like get to know people, like talk to people you never talked to before, like you know, because some things you will never learn unless you talk to people, or like things like that. So that's important.
I like that you said that.
Yeah, because I was always kind of like that, but it's like I feel like it's more important to do it now, because like I'm such an introvert, but like I can be extroverted a lot as well when I choose to be. And so I would try to make sure, like, sometimes, like, if you see a stranger, at least say hey, like,
being kind, being nice. All of us are going through something.
That's a service to others,
yeah.
right? Like, being kind to people, like, it's no reason to, you know, walk around like
mad
and like, yeah, you're going through something, but like Brittany said, people are going through other stuff too, and you could like make somebody's day just by saying hey,
how are you doing? Or hey, you know, hey, you look nice or something.
Yeah, just
something simple, but it doesn't have to be, you know,
they don't be like, you don't gotta be best friends with the person, you know, just like, hey, how you doing?
That's like another thing with social media. I was talking to my friend about this. Judging. People love to judge.
Like, they just,
no one is higher than, no one is higher than nobody. Everyone, some people got skeletons in their closet, okay? And they try to make it seem like don't stop. Trying to make it seem like they're so perfect. No one is perfect in this world.
No.
Because if it was, then we wouldn't have to be, you know, saying this about that person, saying that. Right. So, like, judging people and you're not even knowing their situations or what they're going through. You're not perfect. You have
like being so desensitized to people.
Yeah. Empathy.
Empathy does, some of y'all need
compassion.
Sorry.
Use that. This world can use some more love.
Like, I think that sometimes it's like, we're like going back to like social media, it's like we're pitted against each other a lot. Because like, think about it, like social media is like, this is there so people can show what they have or like what they're doing or what they got. Most people don't always post the bad, so a lot of times you see people who are just posting like what appears to be like they're doing great in life, and you start in comparison is a stealer of all joy. I would say that. And so it's like when you live in that world, especially for us, like we grew up in a generation where we have been on social media for like, I've been in social media since like middle school. Like,
MySpace.
That's a long time. MySpace, like, babe, we was like just, I mean, that's a long time you think about it. So it's like, it's kind of like innate in us, like a lot of things that we have learned through social media. And it's like sometimes, so when you comparing yourself a lot to what other people are doing, not only does it like steal your joy away, but it also creates this perception of like, you feel like you need to be in comparison to them at the, like oh, they have this, what am I need to do? So now it's like a mental like, oh, this person may be better than me because they have this. Like, what somebody has does not make them better than you. You don't even know what they're doing behind closed doors. It's like, you never know. So get out of that mindset of like, you should want everybody to do good. You should want to see people win. You should want to see people like being happy, because it's like, who doesn't want to live like this? Sounds like so like idealistic and like whatever, but I mean, you know, do the best you can to like just be kind,
have different perspectives. Don't just be
one-minded.
Have an open mind.
You won't get far if you're one-minded, I'll say that. Like, you gotta
be open-minded.
It helps you evolve as a person when you're able to see like things from not just your own perspective, but to see outside of yourself.
This journey, I have been able to stop seeking validation. That's another thing. Stop seeking validation from others and knowing who you are, knowing your worth, knowing your peace. So over the time, I have been able to gain a peace. Stop caring about what other people's opinions, because at the end of the day, it's your life. Like,
you gotta live your life.
You have to live it. So all those opinions and what people have to say and the inputs don't matter unless it's people who are trying to help you,
right? Like for a positive reason.
But the others of, oh, you should do this, no, just
because nobody can really tell you how to live your life,
because they still trying to figure out how to live theirs. So it's just
make you the guru.
Find your peace. So this situation has also brought me to like a higher spiritual, and my spirituality with God and stuff like that has brought me closer to Him.
It's one thing to like know God, but then to actually have a relationship with Him.
Yes, my relationship got
so different, and I also agree with that too. Like, I had a whole different shift on like my spirituality with God, or my relationship with God, like after I lost my dad, because it was like, sometimes it's easy in grief to like get in this space where you're like kind of like sulking over it. Like, why me? What happened to me?
That was my first beginning stages of it.
Yeah, that's like for a lot. I feel like for like people that I have, you know, came across, or like it's so weird. I used to watch videos about people who have like lost people, but because I wanted to know, because like I didn't have anybody to talk to, so I had to figure it out. Though it does, you know, and a lot of people say they went through like that denial stage, or like that not being able to understand like, why me? Why is this happening to me? What did I do? And it's like when you make a connection with God, it's like you learn that yes, something traumatic like this happened and it's going to be life altering, but he won't take you through anything that you can't handle, as well as what is this, because everything for me, I believe, happens for a reason.
Same here.
Nothing is coincidental.
Same here.
Why did this happen? What is he trying to show you? And I think for me, it was like a lot of things like going on with my family, like with my dad or whatever. Like, it opened my eyes to see things a little differently than I would have seen if he was here. And I needed that. And it sucks to be like, oh well, I lost him, but sometimes it's hard because you don't want to feel like you're leaving them behind. It's like, you can't leave somebody behind. They're always going to be with you.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not here physically, they're always going to be here spiritually, you know, in your thoughts and your memories as well.
And keep their name to live on as well.
Exactly. And so you use that to carry you on. Like, I'm doing this because my dad, you know, he's with me spiritually. And so, yeah, it's kind of scary. Like, it's me and Brittany have talked about this like before, and it's, you know, it literally is. It gives me, like, and I say this, like, it gives me goosebumps sometimes talking about this, because you can kind of feel a shift in yourself when it's like, okay, I'm about to tap into something different, you know. And it's like, hey God, you know, I ain't talking to you. And he's like, yeah, I know I ain't saying hello. No, but for real, it's like, wow, you really have like awakened something different in you.
An awakening.
It's an awakening. It's an awakening. And awakening is like, what I'm learning, it's like a shift in consciousness. That's what awakening actually means.
Yes.
But
so another thing I have realized during this healing time, my purpose in life. Before, it was moving like doing what society says, just follow society's rule book, and you know, that's it. I really didn't have, or I didn't know my purpose. My purpose has always been, God has ordained that already, but it's you seeking your purpose. So I didn't seek my purpose yet. I would say his demise has definitely like opened that up for me, led me to my purpose. Because after that time, when he passed, I was lost. Yeah, so lost. It was literally just trying to mask and make it seem like, okay,
yeah, like just go through the day. I'm just trying to make it through the day. I'm not even worried about all that.
I was so lost. I didn't even know. I said, what I'm doing school, was it right? Doing the decisions I was making, I was questioning everything. Like, what I'm doing, is it right? Like, you know, God, what am I doing? Like, just going with the flow of life. That's what I was doing at that time. And I would say probably like April of last year, because I took that whole March off. I cut all communications with everybody. Only was talking to like my immediate family, which was my brothers and my mom and my dad. But everybody else, friends, social media, took a break, all of that, because I felt so lost. Like, I was looking at social media like everyone else just living their life, and I'm just like here lost. So took a break and tried to like tap in more to find out, like, God, you gotta help me through this, because you can just let this happen and then just leave me. So April came, and how you said, like an awakening. It was like a slow awakening. It was slowly happening of me realizing my purpose, what I was placed here to do, and start building myself up, because you can't drown in your sorrow. Like, one thing I would say is, like, you have to fight that. It's like flight or fight. You have to fight every day to get back to that point of knowing you're worthy, knowing that you were placed here for a purpose. So I was able to realize that. It showed me that, like, serving people is my purpose, helping others, like, that's what I'm good at. And if I go back down my track history, that's what I've always been doing, but not knowing that what my purpose is. So God just started like opening up like opportunities of me to, you know, live in my purpose, and that brought me peace. I felt like when I found my purpose, I found peace. So it feels good to, you know your purpose, but it was a long time coming to find out my purpose. Like, days of crying, days of just, girl, I be crying and be like, dang, you just crying to cry. Like,
sometimes good to have a little cry.
Yeah, when I stop crying, every single day was just crying. Like, but when it finally, like, it was just it was a feeling, like how you said you had got the goosebumps. It was a feeling that I had that, like, okay, well, stuff is about to shift. And one thing is weird, it may seem weird to y'all, but my brother's demise has brought blessings to my family as a whole. I swear, after I thought his demise happened, I thought life was literally gonna just be bad. I thought I was never gonna be able to laugh, be happy again, or anything like that. But it has brought blessings. It's moments where I do have like outbursts, or I will need to go cry, or I just want to be to myself.
Right.
But it has brought blessings, and it has really like shown a different light of life. So finding your purpose, I think, brings the inner peace. And even I'm not saying life will be perfect after you find your purpose. Just now that you know, the end destination will be great. So I think it's important for people to discover that instead of focusing on stuff that does not matter. So would you like to elaborate?
That girl said she walking in her purpose.
Yeah.
Don't mess with her. But no, it's interesting. So like, okay, so for me personally, I already like dealt with like some mental things, like mental battles prior to losing my dad. And baby, it took me for a whirlwind after. Like, I think for me, I had to go super low, like hit a really low point to be able to like pull myself out of that space. And with that, so it's interesting you say you found your purpose and then you found peace. But I think the way I am kind of experiencing is that I'm trying to find peace so I can find my purpose.
Okay.
Because it's like
different ways,
right? Because we all experience life differently, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's journey has been different. And for me, it was like I was already kind of like questioning who I was, what was I about, but not really honing in on it. I was kind of like really going through the motions and stuff. But I was never really like at peace with like who I was and me. I'm kind of just sitting with that until I lost my dad. And I was like, because my dad was like my best friend, like the closest person to me. Like we were literally like, my mom couldn't stand us. We were like twins. Like he was like my intellectual twin. Like we had the same thoughts, everything. So it's like losing a big part of you like that. I kind of lost myself as a person. It was like already a struggle because I didn't know who I was anyway. And so for me, it was like, okay, I lost my dad. What does this mean? Like if he were here, what would he want me to continue to do? Like him through me and me through him kind of thing. So like finding that peace, because like many families, he would go through mental battles, struggles, whatever. And I'm speaking on the advocacy side of like people who have mental health issues, like me personally, and people that I know. Like if you feel like things are too big for you, it's okay to seek help. And I'm not talking about like therapy. Well, I am talking about therapy, but like from God, from therapy, like people around you, whoever you think can support you. Like it's important, because it's easy to lose yourself in things that you feel like you can never come back from, when really you can. Because nothing is, just going back to, I keep saying this, but he'll never take you through anything that you cannot handle. You have to figure that out on your own. But for me, it was like I just needed to find a place of peace where I can be okay with, okay, this is life, this is what's happening, now what's my next steps, and then comes the purpose part for me. And so yeah, and I'm still figuring it out. I hope to be where Brittany is very soon.
You will,
but it's everybody their own journey. But yeah. So I'm just enjoying, and Brittany was saying this earlier, like enjoying the process of life. Like for me, it's like give yourself grace of like knowing that you aren't where you want to be.
Because this is why I literally wanted to do the video, because you literally, like, my thoughts is what she's saying. Go ahead, continue.
No, we be here. But no, yeah, it's like grace and I was just talking to my friend about this too. Grace and patience are like my grounded words for like 2022, because I myself, going back to like social media and all these things, like comparing yourself and like worrying about things that don't really matter, that doesn't bring you peace. It's like, because if you're constantly like worried about what's to come or what's happening or what other people are doing or why am I not here, why am I not doing this, you will never have any type of inner peace. Because to me, it's like on the journey of like being in a relationship with God, it's like that's not like a slap in his face. Like, you don't trust what I'm doing with your life right now. It's like, why are you worrying about what's to come when you're just here in this moment? Like, just give yourself grace, and knowing that like Rome wasn't built in a day. Whatever you're trying to do in life, whether it's like build a business, start something, like get this place in life, get that new apartment, get a new house, get a new car, like whatever it is, enjoy the journey to there. Because it's like when you have it, if you are trying to like skip steps or like just trying to go through the motion, you'll never appreciate what you really have. Because you didn't really experience what it took to get there. And it's more so about the experience and the ride to get there versus like actually getting there, at least for me. So
same here.
Yeah, so like give yourself grace, give yourself time. Like things happen when they're meant to happen. Nothing should be rushed that's meant to be. And just, I guess, like focusing on the journey, like Brittany was saying.
Yeah.
Just go along for the ride. You know?
I realize that too. Acceptance of your reality.
Yes.
The acceptance of your reality. That's one thing. I think people try to hide from it or try to like
steer away from it.
Steer away. Once you accept your reality, because it won't forever be. Everything is temporary. Like it's not always going to be that way. You're going to go through seasons in life. You may have a good season, you may have a season of mourning, you may have a season of happiness. You know, you're gonna go through different seasons. Yeah. But don't always think that situation will always be like that. Don't always think life is always just gonna be this one way. Because you could be down one day, up the next. Right. Up, down. So just
progression is not linear.
Yes.
As long as you keep going.
Just be accepting of your reality, and like how you said, grace. Give yourself grace. If anything that happens, it's okay. It's life, and we're not perfect. We make mistakes. We're not perfect, but as long as you're
perfect either.
True. As long as you're pushing forward. My word of the year is intentionality.
Ooh, I
being
like
intentional about everything that you're doing, because we can get caught up in just doing and not knowing why we're doing it.
But intention, I feel like intention what makes things like happen the way they do.
So having intention and good intentions.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people
don't.
Good intentions
only.
Because sometimes people, good intentions, but just being intentional about everything that you do. Like if it's a relationship, if it's school, if it's work, or if it's a business or anything. And consistency too. Consistency not only with what you're trying to build, but consistency with yourself, loving yourself, speaking life into yourself. That's another thing. What you say, your thoughts become what, and you start speaking that will become your reality. So speak life into yourself. Like people may think it's crazy. Sometimes I have a pep talk with myself. Listen, don't start having them little bad thoughts. Those thoughts gotta go. Start speaking life into yourself, and it really changes your environment and your reality too. So, but just be intentional about everything. And
I agree with that. Like I was a Debbie Downer. Like I was a negative Nancy for the longest.
And I learned awareness. You got self-awareness to realize. A lot of y'all need that.
Y'all look blind. No, but it's like And for me, it's like I'm grateful, like going on with the journey, like to be able, like you said, to have this awareness that like, okay, the things that you were speaking into yourself, like Brittany was saying, power of the tongue is so real, and like power of your thoughts is even realer, honey. Because if you like continue to speak yourself in this cycle, you're never going to get out of it. Because it's like your mind only believes what you feed it. And if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not capable, I can't do this, I can't make it through it, this is never going to end, then that's where you're going to stay.
It's gonna be your life
forever until something changes. And then also like realizing that like the things that you kind of like, I don't want to say manifest because that's like a tricky word for some people, but manifest, the things that you kind of manifest through like your thoughts and what you say affects like how you experience life too. So for me, I had to learn like, damn, why does all these things keep happening to me? Why is that? Because I kept putting myself in a space where like I was opening kind of like these negative vibes and things happening, because that's all I was thinking was like negative stuff all the time. And so, just being more self-aware, like where you like,
and
what you're
thinking about your gateway.
Yes,
if you have thoughts, you hear, you're in your company too.
There's nothing but your ego talking. Your ego is telling you that you can't do it. Yeah, and you can't listen to that because that's how the conversation. Yeah, you just gotta, if you like feel yourself in a track where you're like, you have these thoughts of like, oh, what you can't. Just stop yourself, whatever that may look like for you. Sometimes I gotta take a minute and just like write, journal, whatever.
Music is my
music is definitely helpful. I get carried away in music, child.
Music is my thing.
I love music. It does. Music is like very healing to the soul for me. The right type of music. Now,
yeah,
that's another conversation.
And laughing. Like it'd be a crazy situation, and I'm gonna start laughing. Right. I got to, so I can just laugh this off.
We're gonna laugh.
I gotta laugh it off or something. But to raise your spirits back,
Yeah, no, for sure.
But to end off on this video, to anyone else who may be going through anything similar to our situations and are in your early 20s, or death happens, you don't know when it comes, or when it will happen and stuff like that. So anyone going through this situation, hopefully this video was helpful to you. A piece of advice is give yourself grace. It's a process is what I would say. I'm not like fully healed, but on the journey of healing, and just find like positive ways of building yourself, speaking life into yourself, to continue through this life journey, because life is not easy. But give yourself grace, and God, well, whoever you believe in, but for me personally, God, well, he's not going to give you something that you can't handle. He will take you through. So if he gave you the vision, he will show the provision for you to get to where you have to be. And just give yourself grace, love yourself, and positive vibes, positive thoughts. Would you like to, any tips for people?
Bring me out. She took all the points. No, but also, like, I would say going along with giving yourself, like, being okay, like, it's okay to have your sad days. And it's okay to like also be real that, okay, you're having a sad day, you're having a down day. But not letting it kind of just linger on too long, like accepting what your emotions are for that day, but also being able to navigate through them. And as well as like, it's okay to reach out sometimes to, if you feel like you need support, don't be scared to reach out to people. Don't be scared to reach out to loved ones. Don't be scared to seek help if you feel like maybe it's something that you can't handle on your own, or anybody else maybe can help you with. Seek help, seriously. And also just know that it's gonna be a pain that kind of stays with you forever, but you will be able to navigate it and to handle it like that. Literally, time heals all things, all wounds. Honestly, like, not fully healed, the wound will never go away, but you will be able to manage it, to handle it much better once you learn whatever healthy way you cope with things, and manage that better. Things do go on, and you will be happy again. You will experience, you will laugh again, you will have good times again. It may not feel like it now, but you will in due time. So just give yourself more grace, like Miss Brittany said.
Yes.
Solid.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and comment down below any concerns or any thoughts that came to your head,
or feedback,
feedback in the comment section below. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up.
I want to give a thumbs up.
Go ahead and give us a thumbs up.
Like this video right now.
Give us a thumbs up and comment down below what other videos you would like to see from me. I just want to thank you for coming on, and I'm very proud of you. Y'all, we just too goofy, but I definitely do want to thank you for coming on, because this is a topic that is not easy to talk about, because it took me a while as well, but I definitely do appreciate that. And
I'm proud of you too, girl. We did it. We did it, y'all. But no, but I am so proud of you too. Like, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for having me on. Seriously. You made me cry.
I know you're so proud. I didn't cry the whole video. But I'll be back with more content. Love you guys.
There's nothing